once again, third episode, and we have got some shout outs. People that have said that we're doing great, and so I'm gonna give them some shout outs. I've seen that on popular streams and stuff that people give shout outs to dedicated members. So we're gonna give a shout out to Sebastian and Victoria and baby Vincent in I think they're in Spain somewhere right now.
Wow.
And we're gonna give a shout out to Hugo in my class. He's been watching all the episodes, saying we're doing great. He also had I'm gonna tell a story later on that he said this is good podcast material. So shout out to Hugo, and we're also gonna give a shout out to Eduardo. Yeah, Eduardo, basically, who is the first subscriber. And I don't know, I haven't checked actually if there's more subscriber or anything, but he's the first subscriber, and he has also been giving us a lot of positive feedback. And yeah, I think those are the ones I know. Do you have any shout outs you want to give?
I sent it to a couple of people, and the one who replied was, well, my father said, he was like, it's in English. It takes time for him to understand or like to process it. So I will have to take it up with him again. And my sister was like, she didn't listen to a lot of podcasts right now, but she was going to make an exception for ours, which was very, very nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's great. I think my sister, yeah, she's watched it too, so shout out to her. My wife, she hasn't watched it. I don't think so. And I don't think my mother has watched it either. She said I blocked her on Facebook, which I don't think is true. I just don't think she has, found it yet. But maybe I should send it to her, and so she can get a shout out in the next episode.
Yeah, and I got some. Never mind. Let's continue.
Yeah. So this is something for the listener. If you want a shout out, you can, tell us that we're doing great, and you get a shout out in the next. That's what we can give right now. And now, as usual, I'm getting very warm, so I'm opening up here my sweatshirt. Well. So we haven't spoken in some time, but I know that you have been on a retreat.
Yeah.
But that's basically all I know, that you've been on some kind of retreat. I don't even know what kind of retreat you've been on. So do you want to tell us about this? Do you want to? Yeah.
It was a retreat with my man group. My we're 15 men who meet every week and talk. And meditate, and we dance, and we like a therapy group type of thing where we like personal development type of thing. And we had a retreat in us, what's it called, Scouts? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I know what
something
you mean.
else in English, I guess. But it was no electricity, no running water, and it was in the forest. So it was very nice. The theme of the retreat was who are you beneath all these stories and all these things that we tell ourselves. So it was really powerful, and it has changed so much. It's so like that. I feel so happy after this retreat. We did.
It's good that every time we have a podcast, you have had the best week of your life.
Yeah.
So this can't be bad, I guess. At least we're doing something good.
Yeah.
So this was this weekend, because today is Wednesday. So it was just a few days, and it was Friday to Sunday with these people.
Yeah, we were like
nice.
12 guys in this cabin, cooking
So you
food.
have a leader, or do you have like, or do you like, or
We
do you
have
do it like, do you come up with stuff yourself, or what?
we have a leader who prepared, like who took charge on like. There's this woman who has created a like a system called The Work,
Yeah.
Byron Katie,
Yeah.
and we'll have the links in the description. And
Yes.
we did a we did the work basically.
Ah.
So
So can you
what?
just, because I know
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
is, but can you just say
yeah,
what, like the questions, like?
yeah. What we did was if there is if there's a like a person or a thing in your life that's causing you suffering some way, or like you're as fathers you don't have, it's unresolved basically, and then you can use this questionnaire and these questions to change how you look at it basically, and we did that. I did that, and I chose a person who I I believed had had done wrong things to me. That I was very upset with him. I was angry at him, and yeah, uh, I wrote all these things down, and then the leader, he asked if somebody would like to be first or like show what was supposed to happen, and I was very like, I will I want to be I want to do it the first.
Yeah.
I want to be the first, yeah. And it was so emotionally, I was so like in it. It was like, well, all the people was watching, but it was like just you, it was me and him and my that past experience. So I was very in it, to say the least. And it was, yeah, it was like when you do the questionnaire, it's really important that you don't question or you judge yourself. Just let the ego, what the ego says you're gonna write, that's what you'll write. So it's really hard to.
Yeah, because it's basically, it's three questions, right? If I remember.
I think it's 6 questions,
Is it
or it's,
six questions?
but it's 6 things you're gonna write down. Um, so it's let me wait.
There isn't something like, if is it true? Do you really know that it's true? And
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you change it? Or
yeah,
like,
that's yeah,
oh, that maybe
that's the
that's another one.
questions. Yeah, but you
Yeah.
like you start with that's the questions. That's correct. But you start with like a thing or a person, a
Uh-huh. Okay.
situation.
I had never done this. I
Yeah,
just know, for the listeners,
yeah,
you can, I know you can go to, I don't know, you can Google Byron Katie or the work or whatever, and you
yeah,
can find this questionnaire for free online,
yeah,
and you can do it, like you can get a Skype session with someone who is like training to become like a therapist or whatever, like in this sort of area, and you can do sessions for free as well,
wow,
online. So it's a pretty cool thing that you can do it for free, that's what I wanted to say. And there's a lot of nice videos on YouTube with Byron Katie where she does this, the work or this thing, and she records like something similar like we're doing here. Like she records the conversation, and then you can hear, uh, yeah, how she uses this method to sort
yeah,
of change your thought patterns, basically.
yeah. And that is exactly what happened because um, it was. I went really into the like the not the trauma, but maybe the trauma or like the hurt of this particular situation and how I felt about this person. And then the leader, he started to go through these questions like, I'm angry at him, and he makes me feel small. And then he's like, is this true? And I say, yes,
Yeah.
it's true. And the second question is it absolutely true? Or are you certain, absolutely certain that this is true? And I'm like, no, I can't be certain. And the third one is like, how do you react to the thought of this being true, that you're like, he makes me feel small? And then I describe that. And the third one is like, who would you be without this thought? And then I said like, I would be me. And then comes the beautiful thing, which is called the turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you like
But you basically changed what if I remember this correctly, like you changed like I am small with this thought, then it's sort of I am you changed that concept into different sentences, like uh, I am not small with this thought, or what is it, and or like I am, or he is small with this thought, or whatever, like stuff like that. You change it in every way you can change the sentence with basically, and you hear all the different angles of it, right?
And when I did that, I couldn't stop laughing. It was so what's it called? It was such a relief. It was such a expansion in me that I was doing this to myself the whole time. I've been in this the whole time, and it was so. I was laughing like this. It's so that it's so.
That is it. Because I mean, I guess I don't know if that's where they found this expression, but mind blown, like you're sort of because I understand what you mean, because it's sort of you understand that I believe that this has been my truth, and then you see, oh, this is not the truth.
No.
And then you saw, oh, this is crazy that this is not the truth.
Yeah.
And I remember I've had that experience as well. Like I think I read some book and I was just, holy shit, this I don't remember the quote right now. I should have. Yeah, maybe we can talk about that quote another time. But I know that it's sort of in Buddhism they say like if you just suddenly just break into laughter or cry with like no reason, it's like it's called a satori. Like it's a flash of enlightenment. Like you're just sort of somewhere else. This is crazy, but it's true. so it's a good place to be. So I understand why you're
but
happy.
It was like when I was writing it before even the process, like when I was by myself and writing it, I could see like this is got nothing to do with this person. This is all me. Yeah. I'm doing this to me. And I could see like different other relationships where I feel hurt and I feel a lot of like animosity towards a person or something like that. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing that I want. Yeah, it's.
But it's somewhere the idea that if I let go of this idea, the other person sort of gets cut loose, or it doesn't. I mean that you're doing something nice to the other person, but you're realizing I am hurting myself by keeping this thought, so I'm doing this to myself.
Yeah.
This is unnecessary. I mean, I guess this is sort of what people try. Oh, this is what you do in therapy. I mean, this is what this is like the key component in
Yeah.
therapy. So, I mean, I'm studying to become a psychologist one day, and so this is what everything boils down to. Like, you want to change the pattern of,
Yeah.
and well, it's nice to do that in such a big way in a weekend with these 12 men in the
Yeah.
forest of
Yeah.
Sweden.
Yeah. But it's it's also like when, because it's so different when I think about like the past experience, and it was like in this last, like in this questionnaire, the sixth question is, and last question is like, what do you want from this person, or like what needs to happen, like, and I wrote like, I don't want to see him ever again. And like the turnaround to that would be like, I'm looking forward to see him again. I'm looking forward to see him.
Oh yeah.
And then when I was like, whenever if I like just like it, that like becomes back to me, I just think about that thing, like I'm looking forward to see him, and
Yeah.
then there's nothing but joy in me.
Yeah.
And I do this a lot of times when, like this week, when I have I feel hurt, or I think a bad feeling or thought, I just turn it around, and then it's it's nothing.
Yeah, that's great.
It's just it's just so funny.
It's fun because it's so easy. I mean, yeah, go for it. It's
It's oh my god, I'm starting to cry.
yeah, that's great. I mean, I think we spoke about this last time when you helped me move to the room I'm in now,
Yeah.
recording when there's no plants on it's just the bed. Uh, like like the concept, if you don't have like if you want to become rich, let's say, if you want to have a lot of money, like fall in love with not having any money, like start doing the opposite of what you want and like enjoy that to the max, and then you know the other thing will disappear, or if it happens it happens, but that it's like a similar thing to it, but it's
Yeah.
like because you won't be happy when you think that the other thing is going to happen. Like if you want to be rich, like you won't be happier when you have the money. You might as well just start being happy where you are.
And
Yeah.
that's so true. I think that's like another thing that I will take away from this is like the power of, like, if I feel that something is I feel worried, or I feel like something is this will be hard, or this will be difficult for me, I just think about like, I'm looking forward to this, and
Yeah.
then there is no hard, there's no feeling of insecurity or fear, basically.
Yeah.
I think she says that as well, that like the longing for, what's it called, the longing for love, and wait wait like what you're talking about with the money. She I can't find it now, but
I think I actually, if you, I don't know, because I have read it quite like like a long time ago. I read a lot of her books and stuff, and
yeah.
I think she is actually coming to like Stockholm in this summer.
Oh.
Just so you know, if you want to do more of this.
Yeah.
My mother actually went to one of her
Oh,
seminar.
really?
Oh, she gave me, but I couldn't go, so she went. And yeah, you do this like what you said, this sort of questionnaire, and then she picks people out of the audience, and then she does it on stage.
Oh,
But then
wow.
you do it like so. It's you know, I don't. It's a thing you can do.
Yeah. I definitely recommend it. It's, you could do it with a friend, or by yourself.
Yeah,
It
but that's I think was the beauty of this, because it's free. You can do it by yourself. You can
Yeah.
do it with a friend. You can do it in a group. You can do it with someone online that can help you.
Yeah.
It's a nice free way to do some therapy on yourself, basically. They can, as you can see on CJ over here, do some miracle wonders.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna the like there is like also when when I realized I was doing this to myself,
Yeah,
I was like, who will I be when I let this go?
yeah,
And that's so scary
yeah,
because that's because I like when I'm hurt by other people, I usually think about how they need help. Like
yeah.
they're in pain and they need help in a certain way.
That's why they heard you, so to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that feels very true.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
We're not gonna go further with that. And then when I realized that maybe that need for helping people will disappear if I let go of these wounds, will I want to be a psychologist as well? Like
Ah,
I'm um, trying to get into the program and stuff like
hmm.
that.
Yeah,
And that was a fear I had this weekend. All right, this wasn't a fear, but I just realized it's gonna be even better when I let go of that need for helping people.
yeah,
It's just gonna be so neutral. I don't not having that attraction to helping people.
yeah.
It will come by itself if
Yeah, and
there
I
is.
think that's, I mean, I'm quite a lot into Buddhism, and I think there is some like the under this is what I believe, but there's like an underlying feeling in every human being that human beings want to help other people. Like you
Mm,
want to make this world a better place. That I believe that everyone has this. And if I mean you can only do this by sort of helping yourself first.
yes.
And then I mean you do it even better. Like so if you're doing this work and they're releasing stuff and whatever old garbage from the past and then you become a psychologist, it's I mean, you're gonna do that even better. I mean, that's how it works basically. The I mean, I was supposed to say it's like physics. I don't know if it's physics, but it must be that way. I mean, you can't help anyone else to the level you sort of help yourself. You can
Mm,
learn some kind of technique or do this, but in the end, I think it's going to be tough to really help someone else. I mean, a lot of studies what I if I remember what I've read, so to say, the people you have to if the patient is believing that they're gonna be helped by this
yeah.
psychologist, the effect is so much bigger, and you are gonna if the psychologist believes as well that the person that they can help the patient, the effect is greater. And I mean, you got if you will believe that you can help someone if you have sort of done it yourself
Yeah.
much. So then you know that it is possible to be on the other side, so to say.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
But that's what I think, and I think that's great to do. Yeah. I think you become a great psychologist if that's what you. I mean, if that's what you still want to do. I don't know. Maybe you change now when you see
No,
that life is different on the
yeah.
other side.
Um, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think I still want to do that, but yeah. I had two things in mind, and one of them was, have you done this before? The work, Philip?
Byron Katie.
Yeah.
Well, I've been in sort of I haven't really done it like maybe I have done the questionnaire, but I haven't had like a. I've done it sort of. I've read her books and I've seen it quite a few times, and I've also seen some videos and I've heard it. So I haven't sort of done it like written out the problem and sort of sat down with it and sort of deal with one thing, but
No.
I've sort of almost like mentalized it and sort of almost like you said, like when you've done it like one time,
Yeah.
you almost can sort of do it in your head, even if she says that you should write it down because you see it in black and white that this is what you actually think.
Yeah.
And I think that is a great. She has a point with that. I just think that I don't know. After a while, you get sort of into sort of, I know that what I'm thinking is not the truth.
Yeah.
So I can question my thoughts easier that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get stuck in a thought, but still I can have the capacity of to question my thoughts while I'm in my own head without writing it down.
Yeah.
So I can definitely sort of think this way. It's sort of, oh, well, this isn't true. This can't be true. Like, but even if it feels true, sort of like, yeah, the same concept. Let's say I have an exam and I'm stressed about the exam, and so why am I stressed and why is this a problem? So, and then I can sort of rationalize in my head of, well, the worst thing is I failed the exam and I have to do it again. That's like
Yeah.
the worst thing. And that basically that's most of life. You're gonna miss the flight. Well, the worst thing is you get a next flight. You have to pay more money, then you have to work more. Well,
Yeah.
life continues. That's how it is. You don't have to. So yeah, basically, yeah. So I haven't. Yeah, that's how I've done it. I haven't, but I would be nice to do it in that more structured way, and I haven't. I've only had I haven't sort of felt to do it by myself at home. I haven't but I would love to do it in a setting like you said, with a group of people, or yeah, to try it out, so to say.
But that was the other thing I was talking about, because it really ties into the things you talked about. Like if you believe that this will help you, the chance is greater that you actually will be helped by it.
Yeah,
If I understand correctly. And when we were this in this we were doing this, I was doing this, and afterwards, like the other men, they were like, wow, thanks for showing this, thanks for doing this, you got a lot of courage. And I said, thank you, wow, it really means a lot to me. And then like the last, like before we were leaving, another, yeah, he told me, he said the same thing, like, wow, we're really experienced to watch you, and was a really, like, he was proud, and it was a nice moment. And I said thank you to him, because also because they allow this, I feel safe there. I feel like I'm able to be there and say all those things that my ego has thought of.
yeah,
Which I wasn't. Some of them were like, can I really say this out loud and stuff like that? And that's one of the, like, when I realized that's so big, like having that type of people in your life and that space. So it's wow. It's yeah. I don't know what to say. It's like, I understand, like, when they're talking about like how important community is for your well-being.
yeah,
It gets like to another level when we're doing like this type of work together, like in this setting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think well, I'm very interested in meditation, but I think like all meditation teacher that I follow, or yeah, whatever, many like what's called sangha, or like a community or whatever. Like you kind of need this for, if you want to live a really good life or whatever. Like if you want to get stuff out of you. I mean, that's yeah. I believe that to 100%. It's nice. So it's great that you have this group, and I mean, you can do it with friends that
Whoever.
you
Yeah.
have that you feel safe with or whatever.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you know this, but I have done like I think that's the nice thing, like with group therapy, even if it's not really group therapy, but the concept of group therapy that you expose something in front of other people,
Yeah.
and that I mean that can help other people like expose that like you get better together, so to say, and
Yeah.
that's I
Absolutely.
believe in that concept, even if sometimes I mean maybe you have never said this trauma to anyone in your life, so you have to do it with a therapist first in a single session, but then to sort of to do it with in a safe environment with other people, I think it's well, that's my background, and I think that's been really helpful. Like things really shift quicker and faster, like you said.
Yeah.
Now you were the one who maybe helped other people sort of expose stuff that they needed to share because and you help each other grow. I think
Yeah.
that's
It is.
great,
It's
amazing.
so. Yeah. It's so important. Usually, like all with the shame and like how I'm not allowed to think like this, and then somebody else has the same feeling or same thoughts,
Yeah,
and that's so liberating
yeah,
that you're not alone
yeah.
and people understand you. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I mean, most people think that I am the only one who thinks this way, and then I mean, everyone is thinking like similar way, or
Yeah.
they had something that is so similar to this or whatever, or that's like it's always like that in a way, which is quite yeah, I don't know if it's funny or not, but that's just
Sad,
how it
maybe.
is. Yeah, sad, more sad. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. And we was at a sauna as well, and we like
Oh, nice.
bathed in the lake, 1 degree
Oh,
Celsius. So it was a whole weekend. A lot of good
that
food.
sounds like a
Yeah.
good weekend.
Yeah. It was.
But did you do like did you you said you did silent like meditation as well, and then
Yeah.
you did this. Did you do anything else that was like crazy and fun?
That was. I think that was the most. Yeah, we didn't have like a full schedule because, uh, yeah, because he was not feeling so well.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think that was good as well
yeah,
because you need space to let these things marinate, and like when you open that box,
yeah.
you'll be tired because all those things rushing through your body. It's yeah. Yeah. Like when we did this like in groups of three afterwards, like
Ah,
so when he had done it with me, then I did it with another person, and he was by my side. So like I did the same thing to another person, and like asking the questions like, is this
yeah.
true? Yeah. So it was a whole thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
what
that's
have
it.
you been up to?
But what I've been up to, well, it's been I don't know how 3 weeks, but I can tell you the story that
Yeah,
Hugo
Hugo.
or yeah, I don't know if yeah the podcast material. Now this is a I don't, but this is one of the most strange thing that happened to me in I don't know in the recent years. I have to say I okay so I in my school we had like you had to write some essay and like to the end of this course basically. So I wrote this essay and then you had to present it in front of the class or a group of the class, 1/4. So in my group, it were, I don't know, 10 people or something. So I wrote an essay about Buddhism and meditation in Sweden, basically, like how you can connect that to the psychologist profession. Well, yeah, that was quite interesting. But anyway, I get there to the class, and then there is like this substitute teacher, because our teacher she was sick, so there's another one there, and so basically she says, well, she's sick and I'm gonna be your substitute teacher, and then after lunch there's gonna be another one. I can't be here after lunch, so we're gonna have another one. Okay, so that's fine or whatever. I'm supposed to present my work after lunch. Okay, so that becomes before lunch. So this teacher says this again. So I'm not going to be here, but then she says the name of the teacher that's coming, and something that I recall this name. So maybe that's my ex-girlfriend. So I go, I have to check Facebook. So yeah. Well, it turns out that it is her, basically. She changed her last name, but from the name she had when we were together. So this is basically, I don't know. I was in a shock. Like, I don't know. This can't be happening. This is crazy. And I was like, because I think there was two things. First, there was just the sort of pressure of having to present your work in front of the class. It's sort of, well, I think I'm not very, very nervous about it, but it's still, I mean, it's a bit uncomfortable. I'm not it's not the easiest thing in the world. And then this on top of it, so it's my ex-girl. So I'm like in shock. I don't think this can't be true. Maybe there must be someone else who have the same name. Lunch with Hugo and Kevin in my class, and I say that I tell them this. So this is what's happening. So yeah, I think one of them said you have to Google and see if it really is her, like if it's her picture on the school or website or whatever. And I do that, and yes, it is her. So I don't know. I was like it's almost like I'm still nervous just talking about it. It's already happened, which is funny. But anyway, so I couldn't. I was like getting cold and warm, and I was like couldn't think straight, and I was like, "This is crazy. What am I?" Because I hadn't met her in 10 years, basically. So yeah, so it's crazy. So anyway, I went to the class, or I saw her before the class. So went up to her and said, "You're gonna have me as a teacher." I don't know what I said. I think I said something like that. And then she was talking to another teacher, and then she was very surprised. And then it's like, "Oh yeah," and then it was so weird. Everything was so weird. And then basically I just had this presentation in front of the class and her, and yeah, that was basically it. But and yeah, it definitely was one of the most strange thing that I have ever done, having her as my teacher, sort of, I don't know, grading me or whatever she was sort of doing. And I haven't met her in 10 years, and then doing this. Very strange. So,
Were she the one you sent the text to like the first episode we talked about?
Yeah, well, I have had two ex-girlfriends, and I sent to both of them, but this was the was her, yes.
Yeah.
Now that was in a way quite funny, but because I had that was after a Vipassana retreat. So and I just had this. I had to write to her and just say thank you, and then we meet again when I have a presentation about Buddhism and meditation.
Yeah.
Crazy. So well, and I'm still confused. Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it was so. Most people sort of ask me like, how did it end? Like how did it end?
Between you two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't really remember. I don't really know like how it how it ended. Um, so maybe that's why I was so uncomfortable. Like because there's something that isn't like I thought because maybe it's also weird that you meet someone in that sort of environment because
Yeah.
otherwise I would then sort of you talk to the person and sort of well what are you doing now and you do some sort of social catching up thing. Now
Yeah.
it's just hi, now I have this presentation and then I didn't see her basically.
But is she a teacher at like your institution?
Yeah, well, I don't know. She is what do you call this? Postgraduate? I
All
don't
right.
know.
Yeah.
Like she's doing
Doctorand.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what she is.
Yeah. I don't not. I don't know whether it's in English actually.
Yeah, but she like want becoming a scientist program. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Becoming a
doctorand.
doctor in like,
Yeah,
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 but
becoming a doc.
not a physician, but
No,
yeah. You get it, guys.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But that's yeah. I
Well,
like
talking about
that those things actually. It's yeah.
well, you're talking about ego and like the structure of your mind or whatever, and then that it was so. It was a long time. It was so obvious for me that sort of that you can really get. I mean, I didn't even know why I was so nervous or scared or like what was going on. I was like, this is in my head. I could say this doesn't make any sense. Why am I so nervous? Like this is it doesn't make any sense. But it was a long time I was that happened to me that I was getting sort of physical reactions of sort of cold and warm and I couldn't think. It was like it was good that I had that my presentation was in an area that I know a lot of things sort of by heart that because I don't know, I was just sort of looking at the PowerPoint and so okay, I'm gonna say something and then I just said something. That
Yeah. What what comes up to me when you say like is where it like you became the old you, basically. Like
but I think there is
like you
some
were more insecure back then or something like that came back to you or on
but
something.
I think well I've thought about this in some way, but I think that I have a hard for me it's very difficult to I have moved quite a lot. I've done a lot of different things, but and it's difficult for me to sort of. I was so different 10 years ago, and
Mm,
it was there is one part of me that doesn't want sort of. I want to be the same kind of guy I was back then in like in one way,
mm,
but also obviously I don't want to be that because otherwise I wouldn't have changed to the way I am now. But to sort of stand up for the way I am right now. I sometimes I feel that it's so uh, yeah maybe that it's what I'm doing now is not so I I mean, I was 20 years, 10 years ago. So it's like it was had more like an easy going sort of more mainstream sort of life. Uh, I don't know. Saw life in that way. Now I see it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I sometimes maybe I judge myself that what I'm doing is so much more complicated or whatever. Like it's to like we spoke about veganism the first episode. Like I don't want to be that person that is complicated or doing weird things. But then at the same time, I love doing weird things. It's like to do meditations that is super long and or what you talked about doing in the going to the forest. That sounds fucking awesome. I love those things, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a part of me that wants to be more. I mean, normal, I guess, yeah, or
Mm.
like more mainstream. And that can be challenging sometimes when I meet people from my past that sort of don't know, have no clue what I've done in the last 10 years then.
That is actually like I know that feeling as well, or like the thought of that, and it can be like I want to be better than I was, and I want to be better than those people as well that I knew
Mm.
back when, and I am, but not better than. Well, I'm different. I'm not saying I'm better than them, but I'm or better than I was back then because I was who I was back then. I'm just different now.
Yeah.
And if you want, I feel a lot happier now, and I feel more secure, and I'm more authentic, and that those things, yeah, it's you can say it's better, but it's also just different, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah. But it's I don't know what that is like like the you want to conform to society, like always that.
yeah, but sometimes I feel that I'm sort of making things more complicated than it have to be. Why can't I just sort of just get a job and do that and don't complicate things too
because you
much?
because you don't want to.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. But then that sort of when someone then from my past, then I'm sort of confronted with sort of that
Yeah,
feeling in me that I still like question what I'm doing now.
yeah,
And I don't if I said this, but like last year or before we got our daughter, I meditated basically 2 hours every day for about a year or something. And when I think about that, it's sort of that's crazy. That's so much many hours to meditate. Like, but the only thing I want to do now, I mean, but that's like the thing that I really want to come back to, like the challenges with having a baby that you don't have that much time, but that I want to come back to is to meditate again,
mm,
2 hours every day because it's great. It's like the best thing ever. But sometimes I feel that's so much time. I could have done something else. But yeah, that's something more normal. But then I guess the normal would be probably to like to watch Netflix or something, and that doesn't sound so appealing to me.
mm. But it's I don't
It
know.
does, it
It's
doesn't make any sense what I'm saying,
no, but
but that the feeling is
I think it does make sense because in like there's this uh, philosopher which is called what's his called? He's called Heidegger, Martin Heidegger. He speaks a lot about he's like an existentialist, and he speaks a lot about authenticity, and that word can be a lot of things. But it's I think you can boil it down to like you want to be the way you want to be, and that it can be very hard when you you compare yourself to what the society is like.
Yeah.
And when you're comparing yourself to like, oh, everything would be easier if I just do like this. I just watch Netflix and be like that person. That person seems to be having like, it's really relaxed watching that Netflix series, and that feels very like, wow, that's all you have to do and feel happy. Wow, I should do that as well. And then
Yeah.
you do it and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. But when you do like the things you want to do, and it's hard because maybe it's hard, and you have a judge, maybe it's judged in you, and it's like from the society that you shouldn't. Why do you spend 2 hours a day meditating for? That's
Yeah.
just crazy. I think it's what I'm trying to say is it's always hard to be yourself, I guess, because
Yeah.
there's always those forces telling you how you should live your life, and you should buy this because you're not good enough, and you should work here because then you can buy these things because you
Yeah.
don't feel good at all from
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I guess that's why when I this is based only on of a feeling. I don't saying that this when I meet someone from my past that this is the truth. But I mean, I feel maybe that I have to prove to them that what I'm doing is worthy or that is correct. I guess in some way I have to prove my worthiness to sort of I'm doing something good, even if this is not the normal thing, or this is what the society normally does. I'm doing something different that I think is good.
yeah, I don't know if I think you guess you said it because I think you're trying to tell yourself that what you're doing is good enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
And you're just projecting that on to that
Yeah,
person. Right?
yeah. I mean, yeah, that is true because that's the. I mean, usually when if I say that I have done meditated 2 hours, people usually get. I mean, the opposite happens, like Byron Katie.
Yeah.
Like the opposite happens that people think that is impressive or whatever. They want to know more about it,
Yeah.
and yeah. So for sure, I am just projecting this on this other person, and then and yeah, haven't accepted it fully in myself. So
Yeah, that's that's nice because now there's nothing less to talk. Now we can't talk about it anymore.
so then that was
Yeah,
solved.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
But but like this, if I'm just gonna confess something, because when I find people like, because when I like why I want to be a psychologist is one thing is like thought patterns, what you're doing here, like you're thinking like in a certain way, which is not very beneficial for you. And I want what I want like to do is like I want to how can you think about this differently, like with the work. You
Yeah,
just change your outlook on this thing, and then you realize, okay, I'm doing this to myself, and I can stop doing it then.
yeah,
It doesn't matter what other people is doing to me, because well, of course it does matter in a certain sense, but when it's over, then I can choose what I want to do with it. Will I want to
yeah,
continue? Yeah. And what I do usually when people say like that, I want to really make them understand that what they're doing is like they're just thinking about it all wrong. And I want
yeah,
to give that to them, but necessarily they're not ready to hear that yet. Or that's not what they need at the moment to hear that, oh, you're just thinking about it all wrong.
yeah.
And
That's yeah, yeah. I understand. I think. I mean, yeah, yes. I mean, in a way, I know that that's how it is.
Yeah.
That's I don't know,
Just say it.
but I know that. Sorry, let's just say it. I
Yeah.
mean that everything. Well, this is how I believe it to be. But everything with that, we are living in. We're creating our own thought patterns, basically. So we're living in our own. We're creating our own ego and our own structure, and that's the problem, so to say. I mean, when you see that structure, that's what I at least believe is awakening or enlightenment or whatever you want to call that. To see the structure for what it is, and you step out of the structure. The structure is always going to be there, but it's always changing. It's changing even if you're like all the time. It has to change, but it's there. It's the structure is there because you need the structure in your mind to think. Otherwise, you can't think. Oh, but so I am totally on board with the concept that yeah, you can change the structure and then you see you see yourself in a different way. I mean, that's that's what we're here to do, basically.
Yeah. That, yeah. I was thinking about like the YouTube channel is called Unlimited Change.
Yes.
That is that's a good name
Yeah.
for what
A
we're doing.
reminder.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean that's what I think is happening all the time. This is my belief, and then I guess it's based on a lot of the Buddhism and the people I follow on that side. But to the concept of anatta or whatever, that there is no self, there is no inherent self, there is no nothing in me that is constant, that is sort of I can't find myself in me. That doesn't exist. I just create my own structure all the time, and then I think that structure is me. But that's not true. That's just a structure. And that structure is very plastic. I mean, it can be changed whenever you want. You just have to see the structure. I mean, that's basically, I mean, that's what you said with your thing. Like when you see what you're doing to yourself, so, well, why am I doing this? This is unnecessary. And that's when you see the whole structure, then you see, well, I don't have to believe what's in the structure, but it's useful to have there, but I don't have to believe it. Maybe this was too deep. I don't know.
I think it's very. I think it's good in the terms of like in a Western thought patterns, how it actually works.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the challenges, and that's also what I wrote in my paper in school. Like one of the problems with psychology in the West, that the only concept is to change the pattern. Like that's what you're doing. You're changing thought patterns, and that's great.
Yeah.
But in Buddhism, you want to go beyond. Like you want to go out of the pattern. You want to see what you want to see the structure. You want to see the pattern. You don't want to just change it. You want to don't be the pattern. And I think that's sort of those two together is great because that's when you change it, you can also see that it's changeable. And when you see that it's changeable, you see, well, it doesn't exist. Like anything that is changeable all the time doesn't exist. I mean, it exists, but it's changeable.
Yeah.
Or anicca, as you say.
Anicca.
That everything is
All
changeable.
right. Yeah. It was like I was like some meditation. That's where I like okay. I heard this word before, but where I couldn't place it. I was thinking of ahimsa, which is like non-violence towards others and yourself.
Yeah.
And
Also a good concept.
yeah. 1 hour.
Yeah.
Nice by. Do we have something more?
I don't know. Maybe we're done here.
Yeah.
Maybe I can take this with you after. Well, let's cut it here. And thanks to all that are listening.
Mm.
And
Truly,
thank you.
yeah.
Now you can wave because I cut you out before all the time. So wave.
Okay, wait. I'll
Oh, do
do
you want to
the.
say something?
No, I don't know.
No.
So it's yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for listening or
Oh,
watching. Yeah.
oh, bye bye.
Bye.